It's been a few days since I said this about Wuthering Heights.
What a stupid film.
And you know what? I've actually changed my mind. I've now had a chance to familiarize myself with the source material, took on board everything that was said, did my own research, and now I can confidently say that this movie is far worse than I initially thought. It doesn't work from any perspective, not from people who've never read the books, not from people who have read the books, not as an adaptation, not if it wasn't called Wuthering Heights. And let's be clear, there is nothing wrong with reimaginings, retellings, adaptations. We've seen so many adaptations of literary works done well that have had to cut out things like the Lord of the Ring movies or Harry Potter, or made wholesale changes like Matilda and peak MCU that deviated from the comics. And there is such a thing as adapting something too faithfully. It is impossible to include everything, but also there are some things that work on the page or in a book that don't work on the screen. But the changes have to make sense, they have to be interesting, and they have to aid the story. Here, all the changes severely hurt it. Like their ages, the characters are supposed to be teenagers, which gives context and explains their actions, their immaturity, their naivety. But here they're played by a 28-year-old and a 35-year-old, which is still young, but now the behavior reads as nonsensical, ridiculous, almost like a parody. And there's nothing wrong with the characters being unlikable. That's how they're supposed to be. They're even worse in the novel. And across the years, we've had so many characters that are horrible people, but it works because they are well written and complex and interesting and compelling to watch. But here, every interesting nuance about them has been removed. Like racism and classism and generational trauma and obsession and revenge and cycles of violence and elements of the supernatural. Not here. Not only are they not here, they're not replaced with anything, so everything just feels hollow. It just feels like visuals and inshallah. So now all you're left with are these horrible 30-year-old shits behaving like teenagers, devoid of any substance or reasoning. And you're asking me to care about what's happening, sad music is playing in certain scenes, like I'm supposed to feel bad for them. I don't feel bad. In fact, I am happy that that awful thing happened to you. And it's not a romance. The material is that of a gothic horror, but it's being marketed as this sultry, greatest love story ever told, releasing on Valentine's Day. Even the screening I went to, there was a Valentine's Day card on every seat, tissues saying you're gonna come undone. Even Kleenex have a video on their page right now with balled up tissues scattered across the cinema like there's cum in it. There are even billboards implying Margot Robbie backshots. Not saying I want to see that, but they're advertising one thing and delivering another. But there's no nudity, not even a thigh, brothers and sisters, not even an ankle. So it's either they believe it's a romance or they feel like that's the only way they can market it to get bums on seats. Either way, it's dumb. And a good movie is possible from this material, but respectfully, it would require a more skilled writer and a more competent director. Anyways, the Charlie XCX soundtrack is cute, the costume design and cinematography is great, and Emerald Fennell said this film, hence why the title is in quotation marks, is her adapting the book based on her memories of reading it as a 14-year-old, and oh my god does it show. But like I said in my original video, this movie is like Wuthering Heights the book, but just the cover though, the pages are missing.